Now, getting off of retail, I'm actually gonna jump into the office space, the office sectors. Office space has been very different, and I'll tell you why. Huge spaces that were rented out in the major metros. Again, I'm going to use New York as my example because I'm here in New York and I know that the best. But I do also follow all the trends, and I do have associates that I work with that also have the same kind of uh, situations happening. So a lot of the bigger spaces in the major metros are either being emptied out or downsized, especially under this pandemic. Again, we were going through a slowdown in this sector as well prior to getting hit with the pandemic. But with everything that's happening and people no longer believing that they need to be working on site in an office at all times, working virtually, have given corporations, businesses, small businesses, a reason to not need larger spaces. Now, not needing that larger space has also created a different scenario. They're either subdividing the spaces and subleasing to other space people, which has created enormous amounts of more vacant space, or they're leaving completely from the city and going again into the suburbs in the outskirts of the city for lower rents in smaller spaces and operating just as well as they could. There's a lot of businesses out there that don't need to be in a specific location to be able to operate. If you're even in my industry, I don't have to have an office in every single town to be able to operate. We do so much online right now that marketing, advertisements, all the data stuff that we do, it's all online. Emails, correspondence, online. So between having a laptop, a phone, a couple of gadgets that do a lot of our online work for us, and a car, we don't need to have offices in every single town. You see consolidation of these offices. They might have an office in every other town, depending on how what the population, the density is of each town, is going to reflect how many offices are there. But the same thing applies for other businesses as well. The other trend that's happening is people are shrinking down their footprint in the major metros as far as their office space is concerned, and opening up little pop-up satellite offices in the outskirts or in the suburbs or closer to home for themselves. Now, it's still a high concern. This coronavirus is something that really has, affected people psychologically of not wanting to be in the city. And if they don't have to be in the city and they could work just as well as they would have from a smaller satellite office closer to home, then what's the purpose of having those larger spaces in the city? What's the purpose of having such a high expense? That's that's going to be a trend, and that's going to continue going into 2021, and that is actually going to get worse going into 2022. I feel that that sector is going to have the hardest time. Unfortunately, office. The other thing that I have to mention as well, a lot of spaces, a lot of houses are getting home offices added into them. New construction that's going on has that extra bedroom that's slash office space that people have home offices that they're putting into. So you're having that. that's going to be a tough market. That's going to be a very, very tough market. I've been renegotiating leases since April, and I feel that we're going to be having a lot of the same going into 2021. So that is not going to be a very optimistic outlook, and I don't know how that's going to be done. You might see a lot of this office space actually converted to residential space down the line. They might rezone a lot of these buildings in order to fix a problem that a lot of people are saying as far as not enough housing out there. And they would have been residential spaces to start with if the zoning would have permitted it. But they might, again, full circle, might go back to that extreme.